This video will show you the power of Inventor's solid modeling. I have been supplied a plastic shell for a blister pack. My job is to design a male and female die to make this plastic shell. The plastic shell was supplied in a SAT format. Using Inventor 2017 AnyCAD, I have the ability to bring this into a part as a multi-body part. It brings it by the same name unless you change it. You'll see as one solid body. I'm going to go ahead and label it. And I give it some color. My next job is to start building the male die. So I will need a work plane to work on. So I'm going to put one on the back side of this plastic shell. You'll notice that often you will not be able to get the select other box when making work features. If you right click and select other, you will get the other side automatically. Then I'll pick a point to give me that back side. I want to make that work plane auto resize. As the mold gets larger, it needs to be a little bit bigger. Next thing, I'll go ahead and make a sketch to represent the outside of the male die. It'll be a ½ inch larger than the mold, or the plastic part, all the way around. Not 5, but 0.5. The overall size will be 3 by 6. We'll extrude it. We'll extrude forward first into the plastic shell. Pick the profile, switch my direction, and tell it I want to go 1.5 inches past, so it's past the plastic shell. Notice I want to make a new solid in this part, a new multi-body solid. So that's the front part up inside the plastic shell. Now the next thing I need to do is combine the two. Actually subtract the plastic shell from that block. So the base is the block, the tool body is the plastic shell. I want to keep the tool body and subtract it or cut. Say OK. Spin around, take a look. You'll see the plastic shell has been taken away, and I've got this outside block I need to get rid of. So delete face using the remove lump or void option does a fantastic job of doing this. Now I'll go ahead and turn the sketch back on so I can use it again and extrude the back part of the mold, just 1 inch. It will not be a new solid, it'll be a join to make join with the front male section. So as you can see now we have a new solid, which is the complete male die. I'll label it. Call the final male die. I'll give it some color too. Make it cyan. Now it's time to work on the female die. Turn the plastic shell back on, the visibility. Next thing I'm going to do is use the same sketch to extrude the female die. I want to go out, say 2 inches on this to cover it completely. I also need to make it a new solid, beginning of the final female die. I'm going to turn off the male die just for sake of visibility. Turn off my sketch, I'm finished with it. Turn the part around, take a look. As you can see, the plastic shell is buried up inside the female die block. use the combine function again to subtract it out. The master, or the base, is the block. The tool body is the plastic shell. I want to keep the plastic shell and subtract it. Again, using my delete void or lump, and pick the inside part. This finishes up my female die, which I will label. And give it some color. I'll make it yellow. Turn on my plastic shell and my male die. I'll turn off the work plane. I don't need it anymore. My next step is to turn these 3 solid bodies into an assembly. I use the Make Components command, also found under Manage, Make Components. Now, when you do this, you must use templates. You can preset these in your template if you so desire. If you do this a lot, under the Make Components dialog, you'll see the options for making components. One is to assign the template for the parts. I'll use my Beyond the Drafting Board templates, and the assembly. Now again, you can do this on the fly, which I'll show you in a few seconds. So I'll go ahead and make components, add the other 2 pieces, or other 2 solids. I have 3 solids. It'll pick up the name of the part. If you wanted to change it, you can. Notice the template is automatically assigned. If you need a new template, just simply hit the icon and select it from the list. Same thing with the templates here. Select them if you need to change it, and browse for your template. If they're in your template, they'll be assigned automatically. Say OK, and you now have your completed assembly and your 3 parts. They're all grounded, and I want the male die to be grounded, so I'm going to go ahead and unground the other 2 to move them off and show you. Move off the female and the male, and the shell. The male is fixed. Now, when you want to add constraints back to this, the easiest way to do it is use ground and root components. Since you did this as a solid body model, it has a common origin. So you can ground and root components. So as I pick that, and since the plastic shell was already selected, it jumps back in place and grounds it again. Take off the grounding, and you'll see that it has added 3 constraints. The last flush is the one that holds it in position. Let's do the same thing for the female part. Again, it puts it to the top, take off the grounding, and you'll see it add the 3 constraints. Again, the last flush is the one that holds it together. If I suppress that, you'll see it slides out very easily. So as you can see, it's a very quick process for making the male and female die for this plastic shell using multi-body modeling. Let's go in the reverse. Let's say you have the mold, but you need a representation of the plastic part. I have taken this assembly I just finished, did a 3/4 section, and removed the plastic shell part, and you'll see the cavity. What I'm going to do is turn off the sectioning, and I'm going to go in reverse. So the first step I need to do is to make a new part and derive the assembly into it. I would like to check the one that keeps the multi-bodies, which is the last one, and say OK. You'll see I have 2 multi-bodies, or 2 solid bodies in my multi-body part. Now the next thing is to put in a new solid which represents the material that the shell will come from. So I'm going to make a new sketch on this surface, project my edges, and extrude. I want to go the exact width of both pieces just so I don't have to do any trimming. So I'll just measure, if I don't remember, from there to there is 3 inches, and I'll go the other way. I need a new solid body to completely cover the part, or the actual halves. Now this will become the actual plastic shell, so I'm going to label it. So I'll use the combine tool again. The base is the actual solid block, which represents the whole shell. I'll then take the tool body and subtract the other two from it, both tool bodies. I don't want to keep them. I'll subtract them or cut, and I have the finished plastic shell. So if you have the die and you need to get the actual represented part, you can use the same method you did to produce the dies to get the part. Thank you for watching this video.